Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a fairly rare vehicle because it's no longer on sale. It's the Pz.Kpfw 38H 735F. Now it's a tier 3 premium German light tank. The emphasis on the light because it's not really a light at all, it's actually the Mini Mouse. It's actually a converted Pz.Kpfw 39. So it's a French designed tank that the Germans took over and they converted it into a little Mini Mouse. It's a hugely armoured, heavily armoured tank, but it only has a very tiny gun. In fact, the gun is only 37mm in caliber, can only do 40 alpha damage and penetration up to 64mm with APCR. In fact, he's only carrying APCR and he's got penetration of 41 on standard ammo. But he's not carrying any because what he's doing today, and the player, his name is KingFarouk, and he's seal clubbing. Yes, this is another episode of puppy kicking. I know it sounds terrible, but really, if you get a rare tank like this and you've had it in your garage for some time, you like to take it out every now and then and you know, just generally see how far you can actually take it. I've actually taken out my Matilda and got a huge number of kills, but because it's under tier 4, of course you can't get that much in the way of medals because it's below the level where you could actually get a Radley Waters or a Fool's Medal. So all you get is a Top Gun, a high caliber, maybe a steel wall. In fact, actually, I said at the start of this battle this was tier 3. In fact, actually, it's tier 2. See, it's got the same fire rate as the standard Pz.Kpfw 39 or 35. Oh, look at that! He's just got his first kill. Our Leica tractor is now back in the garage. So really, it's only actually going to see tier 1 and tier 2 tanks. And in that sense, it's totally OP, this vehicle. Really OP. It's very difficult to penetrate. Oh, ammo rack. But it's not impossible to kill. Most people think, yep, you can't kill these things. But you can actually. You just need to know where to shoot and which ammo to use. But you don't want to poke around the corner like that. What you need to do is ambush them and try and get accurate shots on them from distance with APCR. Oh, he's pulled back. He's done the right thing. Pulled back behind cover. And that, yep, the MK8 made a big mistake there. Now this medium is out of action now. Yes, he's gone. Well, what else can I say about the Pz.Kpfw 38H? Well, the thing is, the Germans actually captured a huge number of vehicles during the invasion of France. Oh, he's easily getting through that armour. No problem at all. Only 40 hit points at a time though, so, or average. Okay, now you see he did have to put his observation device back in there. No, the Germans captured a huge number of these vehicles and they put them to use. They either converted them and used them in battle against other nations, or they converted them into garrison tanks. So they would actually hold territory using tanks that they captured from the very people that they were now using them against again. So French tanks garrisoning France under the command of the Germans. Well, it's a very effective tank actually. You can see it's got Pz.Kpfw on the front of the vehicle, so it is a French tank. In fact, actually, the French did build pretty good, decent tanks with decent armour. The only problem was that they were very slow, and this thing is very slow. The Char B1 was actually quite a good tank as well. In fact, very good tank, because it totally outmatched the Panzer Mark IIIs and the Panzer Mark IIs and 1s that faced it during the Battle of France. But of course, if it was to come up against something a little more beefy, yes, it probably would have had problems. Of course, really, at that time, the Germans didn't have anything beefier than a Panzer Mark III, really. Most of the time, the most that they could put up was pack guns. Well, he's all alone now. He's all alone against 7 opponents. So if he's going to pull this off, he's going to have to kill a lot of the enemy. He's already got 5 kills. And he's trying to shoot them from range. Oh, got that like tractor. I know people call it the LOL tractor, but like a tractor is a light tractor. And he's got, whoa, another one coming straight at him. And he's just bouncing the rounds from them, which is going to mean he's going to get a cool-headed medal, possibly even a steel wall, if he can survive. He doesn't want to give him an easy shot. Yep. Now he's bouncing around from the others. They should realise that they can't survive if they don't try and shoot from a distance where he can't see them or hit them. What you really need to do is use the bush mechanic, use APCR, and try and go for the cupola. It does have a cupola. It's a very small cupola. I'll try and get close. There you go. A tiny little cupola on top there. But if you can put the rounds into that, your observation will go down. It makes it easier to kill. You can also shoot into the rear. Now, oh, we've got another enemy. There's 4 still to go. A TKS-20. Now that's that Polish tank. The 2-man tank. Fairly easy to pen though, but they've got a nasty 20mm cannon. And that's the end of him. And the FCM, well, that's a French tank. Basically the same gun. But against this tank with that ammo, it's really a foregone conclusion. He's now got 10 kills, but unfortunately he can't get a Pulse medal because they don't award Pulse medals below tier 5. So at this moment in time, he's waiting for the other 2 enemy to turn up. There's an M2 light somewhere. And we've also got a 4TP, which is the Polish tank, the 4-ton Polish tank. Now that M2 light has got 6 kills. But that sort of indicates to me that he's clever enough to know that you need to stay away from the Pz.Kpfw 38H. Because if you get close to it, it's probably going to fill you full of holes. So I reckon what the M2 light is doing is saying to his 4TP mate, come with me, we'll go hide and wait for the 38H to leave and go to our cap, and then we'll cap him out quickly. This is a very slow tank, and if KingFarouk goes to the other end of the map to cap out, he might not be able to make it back in time before they complete the cap. Well, he's going to go up into the monastery. You see, it's how slow it is going uphill. The engine was woefully underpowered. In fact, a lot of the French tanks did have very, very poor power to weight ratios, so which is why they were so slow all the time. Heavy armor as well. That engine was really struggling to push around such a huge amount of armor. A lot of people as well attacked the French for the fall of France in 1940, but they really shouldn't, because some of the French army officers, especially their tank corps, were incredibly brave people. They took up on the mass ranks of the German army coming at them, and they fought very bravely to delay the arrival of the Germans at the coastline, to give the British time to evacuate as many troops as they could from Dunkirk. So yeah, and also it should be remembered, and this comes from QI, that if you're a Frenchman, you have more chance of winning a battle than losing it, because whenever the French have been allies of other nations, they tend to win more battles than lose them. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. The French actually do win a lot of battles, and a lot of that can actually be down to Napoleon, because Napoleon was a very good general. Oh, and there is the M2 light. Now, he's trying to shoot from a distance and failing, and he's being very careful, but he's not going to pen from that distance unless he's using APCR. He really should get to the other end and cap, but he made the mistake, and now he's dead. Well, all we have to do now is sit here and wait for the 4TP to come here, because he can't cap at the other end. If the M2 light had gone to the other end with the 4TP, they could have capped out together, but he made the mistake. He should have just done that. Well, KingFarouk wants that last kill, and I guess he's thinking that the 4TP is going to be at the other end. So he's taking a chance, driving to the other end, but if you notice how long, when he actually started his return trip, I think it was about 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's see how long it takes for him to get to the other end. Oh, well, no, we're not going to find out how long it takes, because he's decided to change course and go back to the cap. He would of course earn more XP and credits if he was to kill the 4TP, but I guess that 4TP doesn't really want to get killed, and unless of course he's got plenty of APCR, he is going to have a bit of a difficulty trying to take out KingFarouk. But you might as well try. If you don't try, you can't win. There is always the possibility that the 4TP is overturned somewhere, and that's why he can't return. The other thing about this sort of game, especially, you know, people might say, oh, it's seal clubbing, but it's not really. It's important because these players need to learn how to take out dangerous tanks like this. They will meet them occasionally, and if they don't learn where all the weak points are and how you can actually take it out, then every time they come across it, they're going to lose. So an encounter like this, where a lot of tanks do get killed, will make them look, hopefully, in the wiki and find out exactly how you take out a Panzer 38H 735F. Well, 8 seconds to go. It's going to have to be a win by cap. And game's over. That's it. Well, that was a bit of fun for KingFarouk. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And it's an ace tanker for KingFarouk in the Pz.Kpfw 38H 735F, the Hotchkiss 39, or is it 38? 39, I think it was, converted to German use. He managed to get a demolition expert, a shell proof, a duelist, a fire for effect, and a bruiser medal. But here comes the epic medals. Remember, he stood alone against 7 enemy tanks and still won. Even though he capped out, it's still a Kolobanov. So, yep, it's still valid. He got a cool header because he bounced a huge number of rounds fired at him, which just bounced off the armor because the armor's just too tough for those shells. High Calibre for dealing the most damage in the battle. The Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. In fact, he ended up with 11, but of course, as I said, no Pz Medal or Radley Walters for any player below tier 5 who gets anything more than 10 kills. And he also picked up an Invader medal because he capped out to get at least 80 capture points on the cap out. Yep, and the win rate for the game, 11,472. Now, you might say, oh, unfair, but no, if there had been a player in the game who actually had the right ammo, then he could have taken out this Panzer 38H if he'd aimed his shots correctly at the right place. Then it wouldn't have been so much a bad game after all. In fact, actually, I have seen Panzer 38Hs taken out in other games, so I know it can be done. And if we can see all his kills there, let's have a look at the team score. Well, there you go, right at the top of the table, 1,092 hit points of damage. He managed to get the 11 kills, which is more. This is really a case of carrying the stupids, as Klaus Kellerman would say. He actually managed to get more kills than his entire group combined, his entire team combined. In fact, more kills than the enemy team combined, actually, almost. Well, not really, no. But the high score on the enemy team was that M2 Light. He got 6 kills. He picked up a cool-headed and a Top Gun. And, of course, when it came to base XP, it was KingFarouk again. So he's got all 3 columns, 1,270 base experience points. The M2 Light managed to get 653, but he did make a classic error there. He really should have gone with the 4TP to the other end, waited until the 735 left, and then he could have jumped into the cap and started capping 2 at a time, and that probably would have given them the victory. Even if KingFarouk had returned, he could have run away and waited for him to go back to the other cap. He could at least have forced a draw if he didn't actually get the win from capping out. But there you go. Let's have a look at detail. He fired 50 rounds, got 34 direct hits, 31 penetration, damage of 1,092 hit points, of which 84 was at more than 300 meters. He received 51 hits from the enemy. All 51 were non-penetrations. In fact, I think there was only one round that actually damaged his observation device, but he put it back in straight away. He blocked damage of 943 hit points. So sadly, he was only a few hit points short of actually getting a steel wall. So if that M2 Light had just kept spamming him with rounds, and he'd let him do that for another few more seconds, he might have ended up with a steel wall as well. 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 11 of the enemy killed, 11 destroyed, or 11 damaged, 11 destroyed, sorry. He got 100 capture points, but he also got 31 defense points whilst the enemy were capping. On a premium count, he earned 19,047 credits for the game, but, and here's the bad news, 30 hit points, 30 credits for repairing the vehicle. He only took a tiny bit of damage to the observation device, but he used a huge amount of APCR, so his ammunition costs were 40,000 credits. So that's where it's really hurt him to play this tank with full APCR. He also had consumables, 11,500, so he actually took away a loss of 32,483 credits. And I think that will satisfy most people who think this is puppy kicking or seal clubbing. Yes, he did have to pay for it. Okay, he earned 1,905 XP, got 1,334 because this is a premium vehicle and a rare premium vehicle at that. And so his total is 3,239 experience points to take away. So he says, filthy seal clubbing gold spammer. Well, yes, but it is important for the noobs to find out what these tanks are because they're going to come across them eventually and they need to work out how to take it down. That way they're going to win. And usually the best way to win against this tank is by capping. But if you can't cap it, use gold ammo, aim for that cupola, you can put it out of action, or fire into the engine bay whilst you're behind it. But if he turns around his gun and fires at you, don't expect to survive very long. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that replay. You're probably all cursing me right now saying, oh, why did you do this one? But I know it is important. We have done replays before for the Pz.Kpfw 38H 735. I seem to recall, in fact, there was a whole platoon of these tanks playing in one game, and I seem to recall at least one of them was killed during the battle. So, if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.